10 minutes, so please be seated. Thank you.
Starting in 5 minutes, please switch off the phone and take your drinks in the We are closing the bar. So everyone please take a seat. We're going to start. Messages of the past, messages of the present, messages of the future.
They are meant to ignite the fire within you, within me, and everyone around us.
There are stories that remain untold and people who remain unknown.
ExpressO Talks is a Mumbai-based startup focused on showcasing the most powerful real-life experiences. Founded by Ms. Shivani Khetan, who believes that every story is unique and every story matters.
ExpressO aims at changing lives, making a difference. It gives people a platform to express their innermost feelings, without the fear of being judged.
Our mission is to reach out to people to express, engage, and empower them to face any situation in life. Our event features speakers from different walks of life sharing their real-life experiences, their struggles, embarrassments, joy, and much more.
A life without inspiration is a life of stagnation. Our first speaker. There was a time in Sharmila Devatia's life when she dreaded summer afternoons. The Children's Orthopedic Hospital in Mumbai's Haji Ali area wasn't quite the place to be for a school-going girl to spend her holidays at. Where is my vacation? She would often ask her mother. As April dragged to May every year, she perhaps knew the answer, that there were no vacations, as she was different. Since a fateful day in 1970 when she went to sleep but woke up only 4 weeks later after a convoluted coma, it turned out to be encephalitis, a viral brain fever. Sharmila Devatia.
Hello everyone. Hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
Well, I woke up 4 weeks later to half my body being paralyzed. I had lost my eyesight, I had lost my voice, I had lost the use of my hand and leg. It took me 20 years of therapy, speech and physio, both, to get to this point where I am standing here talking to you. I went to a school which didn't discriminate, didn't have any issues having a different side in the class. I was probably treated more equally in my school than anywhere else. I have played hockey for my state, that's Gujarat. I have been a swimmer. I still swim. I track. I I am very happy on two wheels, both bicycle and motorcycles. I am also in the company of marathon runners. So I don't think I lost out on anything. I have a MSc in mathematics, so that speaks for my brain. I am an MBA in operations and diploma in computer science. So yes, a lot of degrees, and I keep accumulating a certificate a year. So yes, I'm done for auditor. I don't know how less or more a life can be. I party every weekend. I have a huge set of friends, and I don't think I am get more from anything. My career has been great. I work for fantastic firms. I took retirement from my 9-to-5 job this April, and I am now consulting with MNCs, and I take some classes with Ali Awajang National Institute for media and disability communication. This is all that I do for my other professional pursuits. Don't interfere with my social causes. I have a helpline that takes care of encephalitis survivors and caregivers. I keep some time off for people who need help. I have been on the board of two institutions from the government of India. I still am on one NGO board, and I carry out those responsibilities very well. I travel all across the globe alone, and very happy to tourist places, to a lot of work that I do in the disability sector. So yes, I am quite happy with what I have. So somebody asked me, somebody asked my mother that how much pain do you feel? So she answered this, that it's all in the mind. Disability has nothing to do with what she has. She doesn't need any pity or any kind of help. By the way, I live here on my own, alone. I don't have my family here in Mumbai. So, yes. My success story is this.
Go, Robin! She describes her life to be a long journey, a collection of many experiences. She is a lesbian and has served in the US military for quite a while until the noise started about this policy which prohibited gay and lesbians to serve openly in the military. So many injustices that she saw throughout the course of her life because of gender, because of sexuality, and also because she is a survivor of abuse. And it has something which has shaped her worldwide view of how she wants to change the world today. It is very connected to what she is doing right now. She says candidly, meet Robin Chaurasiya, who has spearheaded Kranti, an NGO, to focus on helping trafficked girls escape the sex trade wheel, achieve a good education, and be self-supporting.
Okay, so first of all, good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here. I don't know where Shivani digs up all these amazing, amazing people, and I feel very this big compared to a lot of the other people who are speaking today. I think that there's always such amazing, amazing people at these events, and I feel very humble and honored to be here. And I think that I feel like I'm absolutely nothing in comparison to some of the people who are speaking here today. So thank you for inviting me, Shivani. So I just wanted to speak about adversity. I think that we spend our entire lives running from adversity and thinking that it's something that we need to avoid. But I think all of the stories that we'll hear today just show how much the amount of adversity that people face really ends up making you who you are. And sometimes in the end, adversity is probably the best thing that could possibly happen to us. So as they mentioned, my adversity in many ways started. I grew up in the US, which everyone thinks is a big dream and an amazing life. But I grew up in a home that was full of domestic violence, a lot of abuse. My mom had schizophrenia. And at a very early age, I started trying to run from adversity. And running, unfortunately, took me to the US military, where I continued to need to run. And in the US military, as an Indian woman, of course, being a woman of color in the US military was just a bad situation or experience in general. But then, of course, as I mentioned, I'm lesbian. And at the time, the military had a policy called Don't Ask, Don't Tell, in which basically you're allowed to be lesbian or gay, but you're not allowed to talk about it. And so the time came that somebody found out, and I basically said, like, if I'm here, I'm going to be fighting for this policy. So for a good 5-6 months, we spent, me and a lot of friends, we spent all of our time handcuffing ourselves to the White House fence, doing huge protests and sit-ins in like senators' offices. And the policy changed about 3 months after I got kicked out. So I was kicked out in July of 2010, and then I moved here to India. And it's, like I said, very, very humble to be here. I think that the kids that I work with right now have taught me so much more about facing adversity and about growing as a person than I could possibly ever imagine. So right now, I work with Kranti, which is an NGO that empowers girls from Mumbai's red light areas to become agents of social change. They're all at this table back here, if you want to wave. So we work with girls who are trafficked, girls who are daughters of sex workers, and girls who are born and raised in the red light area. And like I said, these girls have faced so much adversity. All of our girls have faced different types of abuse, violence, discrimination, things like that. And yet they're the ones who really, show me every day that it's adversity that brings out the most amazing part of you. Some of our girls have been, trafficked or, sold into sex work at really young ages, at the age of 9, 10. And some of our girls have, been abused by family members or, like people who are very close to them, face sexual abuse for 5, 6, 7, 10 years sometimes. And I think that these girls, through therapy and a lot of the programs that we do at Kranti, they emerge these really amazing, strong leaders. I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard about one of our girls named Kranti. She was the first girl from a red light area ever to study abroad. She's been studying in New York for a couple of years. And in general, we also, last ExpressO talk, Sheetal Jain spoke. Sheetal, who's a drummer, she's also a daughter of a sex worker and has been only studied in 4th and 7th standard, but is now working as a therapist, basically, using music therapy to work with kids also from red light areas. So I just have to say that I think all of these girls have really shown me that adversity is probably the most amazing thing that can happen to us in our lives. Personally, I know that the things that I've faced and some of the people that I've met, and I'm sure all the stories that we're going to hear today are people who are made by adversity, right? We think that adversity is something that we really should avoid, and that we're never we need to be running away from. But I think that all of these stories that we'll hear today really show, and I'm sorry, that was a really difficult thing to follow. Thank you for sharing your story. That was absolutely amazing. I'm humbled to speak after you. But I think that adversity is probably sometimes the best thing that can happen to us. So, as one of Kranti's girls, Saira Sheikh was supposed to speak here. Last night we had to take her to the hospital at 12 at around midnight. So her younger sister Sumaya Sheikh is going to speak instead. Sumaya is 14, and she, I woke her up this morning and I said, hey, guess what? You're coming to give a speech. So here's some more adversity for Sumaya Sheikh to face. Please welcome her and.
जब मेरी माँ 9 साल की थी तो उसको बेच दिया था। जब मेरी मॉम 9 साल की थी उसको मुंबई में बेच दिया था। कमाटीपुरा एक रेड लाइट एरिया है। और कुछ सालों के बाद जब मेरी मम्मी 14 की हो गई, मम्मी ने शादी किया और उसके गांव चले गई। और गांव जाने के बाद हम 4 बच्चे पैदा हुए। कुछ सालों के लिए हमारी मम्मी ठीक थी। पापा बहुत दारू पीता था और मम्मी पापा झगड़ा बहुत करते थे, और उसी कारण के लिए पापा मुझे और मेरी बहन सायरा का अब्यूज किया था। जब मम्मी ये सब चीज़ के लिए कंटाल हो गई थी, मम्मी मुझे और मेरी बहन सायरा को मुंबई लेके आ गई थी। मुंबई में मैं और मेरी बहन खिड़की में और रास्ते में जब भी चलते थे, हमेशा देखते थे रास्ते में मेरी मम्मी और सब लोग मेकअप करके खड़े रहते थे। तो हमको लगता कि कुछ फिल्मी काम करे और एक्टर है। जब मैं थोड़ी बड़ी हुई तो जब मुझे पता चला मेरी मम्मी एक सेक्स वर्कर है। मम्मी बचपन से चाहती थी कि मैं एक अच्छे हॉस्टल में अच्छे स्कूल में पढ़ूँ और कुछ बनूँ अपनी लाइफ में। तो मम्मी मुझे बहुत सारे हॉस्टल में डाली थी, डिफरेंस हॉस्टल में डाली थी। मैं बहुत अलग अलग लैंग्वेज में स्कूल में गई थी। जब मैं गांव में थी तो मैं तेलुगु उर्दू में पढ़ती थी। जब मैं मुंबई आई तो मैं इंग्लिश और मराठी और हिंदी में पढ़ने लगी। तो ये सब चीज़ मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आता था, मेरे दिमाग में कुछ जाता नहीं था कि मैं बहुत सारे डिफरेंस हॉस्टल में पढ़ चुकी हूँ और कुछ भी दिमाग में जाता ही नहीं था मेरा। तो मुंबई का सिस्टम ऐसा है कि कुछ चीज़ इधर से पढ़ो इधर छाप दो, तो मेरे दिमाग में जाता नहीं था। तो मम्मी मुझे बहुत सारे हॉस्टल में डाली, और जब भी मैं हॉस्टल में जाती थी तो मुझे बहुत सारे लोग डिस्क्रिमिनेशन करते थे, बच्चे लोग से अलग रखते थे और काम कराते थे। और इस वजह से मैं रोज बाथरूम में जाके अकेले रोती थी, क्योंकि मुझे कुछ हॉस्टल जमता नहीं था, मुझे अलग रखते थे बच्चे लोग से। तो मम्मी को मैं हमेशा सब कुछ बताती थी, मम्मी मुझे चेंज करती रहती थी हॉस्टल। बाद में जाके मुझे क्रांति बोल के एक एनजीओ है, ट्रैवलिंग के ऊपर बिलीव करता है, और मैं क्रांति में 5 साल से हूँ और सबसे छोटी हूँ। और क्रांति में मैं और सब क्रांतिकारी सोशल जस्टिस, जेंडर, वुमेन्स राइट के ऊपर काम करते हैं और इन्वॉल्व भी होते प्रोटेस्ट सब चीज़ में। और मुझे ट्रैवलिंग करना बहुत पसंद है, और मुझे आगे जाके जर्नलिस्ट बनना है, क्योंकि मुझे क्वेश्चन पूछना और सवाल पूछना बहुत ज़्यादा ही पसंद है। और सबसे बहुत ज़्यादा क्वेश्चन पूछती हूँ, तो मुझे सब बोलते कि तुमको एक जर्नलिस्ट बनना चाहिए, और मुझे भी बनना है, क्योंकि मुझे लिखना भी बहुत पसंद है और ट्रैवलिंग करना भी बहुत पसंद है, और माइक में बात करना तो नहीं पसंद है, लेकिन तो मुझे ट्रैवलिंग करना बहुत पसंद है। मैं अमेरिका गई थी 2014 में, कैंप के लिए गई थी 1 महीने के लिए। और जब आने के बाद अभी मैं मनाली और हिमाचल गई थी राइटिंग प्रोग्राम के लिए। और ये सब चीज़ मेरी लाइफ में इस वजह से हुआ क्योंकि मेरी मॉम एक सेक्स वर्कर है, और मैं क्रांति में इस वजह से हूँ क्योंकि मेरी माँ एक सेक्स वर्कर है।
is actually really shy of the camera and all of, like mics and stuff. So this is her first time speaking. She forgot to mention she actually went to the US completely alone, just completely on her own, stuck on a plane. She's 13 years old, got there, figured everything out herself. Even when she was traveling in Himalaya, she traveled completely by herself. So I think that she's just one of our kids. Of course, there's lots of them back here, but we wanted to really pressure her into doing something. She wants to do what challenges her in the ways that she can learn, right? So this is why she says, I want to face the things that I'm scared of. I want to, I want to travel alone. She's scared of water, so now she wants to learn to scuba dive. Things like that. So yeah, I think that she's an amazing example. And what these girls always say, what they always talk about is, the world really looks down on them and thinks that, oh, those poor things, they grew up in this area, this and this happened to them. But I think, standing in front of you today is proof that sometimes adversity is absolutely the best thing that can happen to these girls. And they are all amazing, strong survivors. And we are excited to watch them go on to do amazing things with their life.
Rajshri Deshpande is an Indian actress known for Kuch To Log Kahenge and Talash. Her movie is now due to release, The Angry Indian Goddesses. Let's hear her story.
I'm nervous. I'm damn nervous. Am I hitting the mark?
My logo.
Oh, logo, yeah. So, 8 o'clock I got a call from Shivani. Rajshri, wake up. There is something I want to talk about. Then I said, hello Shivani, tell me. She said, Rajshri, you have to talk. You have to share your story. And I said, I don't have any story. Like 34 years, I don't know what I have done. And I can't, it's like an essay. It's like a huge, long essay. And I don't know what exactly which is important, which is inspiring, which is not. And then I came here. Then Dipesh said, "Arey bindas bol de yaar, kya hai full on? Kya bolu main bindas?" Then this guy Virat, he was telling me, "अच्छा तो तुम उस बारे में बात करने वाली हो ना?" I said, "हाँ यार, should I talk about my childhood?" But I really don't know. Actually, I'm into acting now. I've come from Aurangabad. Aurangabad, if you all know, it's a place where Ajanta, Ellora, everything is there. And when I was 16-year-old, I told my mother that I have to get out of Aurangabad because I want to do something. So before the place where I stay in Aurangabad, where my house is, before that we used to stay in a small lane in Aurangabad only, which was just behind that was a brothel area, and the whole colony is a Muslim colony, and we were only two houses, which was Indian, which is two basically. And there I grew up. I grew up with boys, and so I'll tell you again. Go back to my boys basically, because my father, my father's family, they always wanted to have a boy in the family, and my mother had to go for almost 7-time pregnancy. In that, 3 survived, 3 died, and then again she had to go for another one because my father wanted to have a son. So then I came, I born. Then my father said, okay, I'm not going to see her. My mother is from Nanded, so my mother stayed back. I was there for 6 months. My father's family, they said, okay, we don't want to see, okay, please, we want son, okay. But after 6 months, something happened and my father came to see me, and I was the fair child. My sisters are British and I'm the only fair girl with blonde hair. I was like a firung in the family. And then my father, I don't know what happened, he said, okay, fine, come back. Because my mother was working at that time. And my father was not working at that time. So somebody had to support my father. So we all came back home. I came back Aurangabad in that small lane we call Shahaganj. And I grew up there, and my father wanted me to look like a boy only. So I used to dress up jeans and t-shirts and belt and all, and I had short hair and always used to go on the roadside hair cutting saloon, and that's how I grew up. And my mother, who's always gone through the domestic abuse from my father. I have seen that in front of me because I always try to escape her in some other way, but nothing happened, you know. We couldn't do anything because my mother was supporting my father in all possible way, because that's how she grew up. She said, okay, because I have 3 daughters, I have to, you know, do something. It's not about my husband, it's about my daughters. So I think, you know, it's not my story actually inspiring, my mom's story. My mother is more inspiring than me, and so that's how till today, like for 16 years I stayed in Aurangabad, and when I told my mother that I want to get out of Aurangabad, because my sister stayed there, my elder is a doctor and another was an engineer, because they're very studious and I'm not. And so my mother told me, for 35 years I worked in Jilla Parishad, and I did the same thing. Get up in the morning, cook for everyone, make tiffins, go to the office. And my mom, who was, you know, though it's from Jilla Parishad, she never took any money from anyone. So she had to face a lot of, as a clerk, that's how she started. It was a very difficult to go through abuses, she had to go through hierarchy, she had to go through a lot in the Jilla Parishad of Aurangabad. And she told me that 35 years, I did the same thing. I had almost 5 years I used to buy one sari, just for if somebody used to gift me, and I always used to think that I'll save money so I can buy gift for you every Diwali. That's how I've lived all my 35 years. I don't want you to live that life. So she said, okay, go ahead, go to Pune, start studying, but I want you to study something which is a professional. So I joined law. I did my law from Symbiosis College, but then she told me that you have to work. You have to work. So at 17, I was in Pune all alone, and Symbiosis College, I got admission because I was a judo national player. So through sports quota, I got it. Then I was there, and then I don't know what to do now, how to work, because every month expenses is 5,000 rupees. Then I joined an advertising agency because there was a board in my college written need client servicing executive. I didn't have a single idea what client servicing it is. But I said, okay, I'll just try. Then I joined that agency. I worked there for 2 years. And fortunately, I started my own agency with a copywriter. And I started in a chai ki tapri. Like one designer, I used to call him, yaar, ek chota sa designer hai, visiting card design karna aa jao. Then we all used to meet up at the chai ki tapri. We all used to sit together, and I used to give them brief, used to go out. So for 5 years, I worked my ass off there. I really worked hard because I didn't watch a single movie, though I hardly ever watched films. I didn't do anything. In my childhood, I used to do theatre because my father always used to tell me, you know, my name is Goody at my home. So like, Goody, aa jao na. When guests used to come, they used to tell me, kuch karke dikhao. Then I used to come and I used to dance. Because I was a big fan of Anil Kapoor at that time, because of the AGOG. Then I used to dance on that, and people used to pay me some money. So I used to feel very happy कि यार 5 रुपए तो मिल गए दिन के आज. So dance में कर लेती थी. That's how my naughty actually started, and that I used to perform also कि some small skits ऐसे कुछ तो. So that's how I became active in my childhood only. So my acting actually started from my childhood, and then 5 years of my advertising went, and then I said I'm tired now. Creatively, I'm not growing anywhere. I didn't have money that much because the capital with how advertising agency works in Pune, hardly any budget. Then I said I have to do something in my life. I'm going nowhere. I'm just doing the same work what my mother used to do, and I had to stop myself somewhere. And fortunately, as family told me that you have to get married. That's the one thing, you have to do it. My father beated me for that for many days. Till 25 years of my age, I had to take all abusing from my father because I had no choice. I don't know why I did that. I really don't know why I did that. Because I don't know, somewhere I really loved him. Because he used to bring donuts for me and he used to bring fruits for me. I don't know why I have no answer for that. So, yeah, then I got married to a friend of mine. I don't know whether he's there or he left. His name is Navdeep. And we were friends since my Pune days. And he was my local guardian. And he took charge of me. And he said, now you do what you want to do. Just leave your, that you have to earn money. You have to earn money. You have to earn money. I don't know what I was doing. I left my dancing. I was a Bharatanatyam dancer when I was in school. I left my dancing. I left my acting. I left everything. I was just working. I was just behind money. Because you have to support your family. Because you have to do this. Because you want your mother to, have more saris. Because I want my father to have a new car. Because I have to do this. Because I have to do that. I was just working for someone else. I was not working for myself. I was not thinking that, okay, I want to do this. I want to do this because I love doing it. I have never done that for those 6 years. And thankfully, because of Navdeep, he said, okay, now fuck it. Just forget it. Just minus these years. I said, I can't minus, but yeah, I will definitely, whatever years will come later on, I'll do something. Then I moved to Bombay. I started working here. And I started working in theatre back again because I did a lot of theatre in Pune. And I assisted Nasiruddin Shah in Motley. Then I worked in a lot of ad agency as a creative person. And then I got a call for Angry Indian Goddesses. And they asked me, they didn't ask me what work you have done before. They just asked me, like, okay, I know you're a traveler. Because in these years, 4 years of my great life, I have lived my 30 years in those 4 years. Because I traveled almost every Ireland, all alone. And I was a gypsy traveler. I stayed couch surfing. I stayed in drivers' houses. I did every possible thing in these 4 years. And I'm really happy that these years are with me. And I'm really happy, even my film also, Angry Indian Goddesses, if you all see it, please watch the trailer and all. It's about 7 goddesses and their different stories. So mine is a maid called Lakshmi Gaude, and she's a Goan maid and she has her own journey in the film. And apart from that, she wants to live her life. And somewhere down the line, I also think that, okay, I have to do this because my father wants it. I have to do this because my mother wants it. I have to do this because my friend's design wants me to do. I have to do this because my husband wants it. I have to do this. I want this. I don't find this. All these parts are there in my life. They're going to be there. I know I hated my father, but I love him somewhere. I don't know. I've always forgiven him. I said, okay, fuck it. I forgive you. Whenever I see him, he's 89-year-old now, and I see him like, okay, fine. Like, I hug him, I kiss him, and that's the same way I used to do that because somewhere, I don't know what the compassion he left to me, that you are my favorite child, because you're fair, because, because you're always, like, because you're the only one, because my both the sisters, they never did anything. Like, I was the only one who used to say, Goody, chalo perform karo. And I used to be like, chalo karti hu. And every guest used to be very happy with me. So my father used to like, very beti hai. Somewhere, he always gave me that extra thing. But yeah, I don't know, everything is so inspiring here. I think every woman is so inspiring for me. People are looking at me. I can just feel, there is so much inside every other person. Dipesh, who inspired me like hell. This person is Sapna. These girls are so good, and I think I'll keep on working on with these people and keep on supporting whatever best I can do. But yeah, there is one thing common with everything. Everyone is like everyone is doing what they want to do it. So. Thank you, Shivani. Please watch Angry Indian Goddesses.
He has been a protector, but has been termed as a perpetrator of crimes. Has been a facilitator, but has been considered as a criminal. He has been cheated, but has been jailed. He has sacrificed his life, but has been implicated in a crime which he never committed. He takes all the responsibilities without caring for his rights. Who is he? He is you, me, we, the husband, the son, the brother, and the father of the family.
He stands for all the vulnerable men of the society. He stands for the forgotten gender, which has lost its existence and identity. It is time to realize that men are human too. Do men have rights too? Those who tolerate wrong and equally guilty as the wrongdoer? One lie is enough to question all the truths. It was one fine morning of 2012 when his quest for life questions his quest for faith. His journey of life has just begun. Chandan Mukherjee.
Good afternoon, all of you. And Shivani, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, Shivani, and welcome all of you guys. Now, I'm going to talk about something which probably is not very amicable to the current society. Everyone has a dream. Everyone has a dream, a dream to love, a dream to live, a dream to be deserved and content. Right? And I think everyone, everyone in the family, everyone near and dear ones, looks at who's one in life. Even I had one, a castle of my dreams. This dreams, it all started, the dream was to, see my mom smiling, someone who has lost her husband at a very, very early years of her marriage. At days in the 1970s, and she fostered this dream to bring me up, to see me smile as a result. And I came home. But again, to see my mom smiling and see everyone trust me, personally, I have nurtured this feeling. And after a few years of work experience in Bombay, and certainly the wedding beautiful, right? And I got 2006. Always something very unconditional, something which is non-materialistic, something. It is a soulful connection to me, right? And it's really a beautiful feeling to have someone next to me, have someone beside me. Feeling to see my son, her at times on stage in the city up, and the best feeling to see my spouse of our life. That really, by the way, my mom was working, and she's in the city, and me and my spouse settled in Bombay. Work and life took us, together, and with lots of, good times, bad times, crests and falls, moments of happiness and sadness, life moved on. Life definitely moved on. Obviously, they were in a normal family life, you definitely go through, two people are never the same. You always have a difference of opinions. Of a soul, that question of difference in opinion in it. Or probably, being rational, or being extremely pragmatic. On the other side, being unquestionably ritual. Life moved on. Yeah. Somehow, all this thing covered in family and get-togethers in Bombay. And we should world. Okay. That it's time to plan, at least to stem the movie. And we were on the same page. We were also on the same page. We were blessed. And we were blessed. It was a beautiful achieved in August 2010. I could just feel my annual scans. And we were blessed with it was people were well-wishers, families, flocked around, the best that we could do to capture every moment with the child, right? Literally, I remember I used to from town to back to my place to look at the little child, every time, and I was and this went on, right? We used to capture the memories, his first word, his first step. The first time he even tried to utter calling Papa, right? It's a beautiful feeling. I used to actually look back coming home and seeing stress, that's how it moved on. And as it went ahead, so it was Diwali. First time we took the child out, a few months child, he was shocked, he was happy. It was a new world for him, it was a new space for him. With the blessings were showered. Some people said, as usual, the trends here, oh, he looks like the father. Some people said, he looks like the mother. Some people very don't look like any one of you. Come on, he's in. Went back home and most of the time asked her, it's one of ordinary fun in yeah, and it was finally, I think, God had His will. In February 2012, I was somehow, I had to shift out of Bombay for a professional commitment. I even remember that Sunday evening when I saw him off at the airport. He was literally in my arms, and holding me tight. I could see tears flowing down his innocent eyes. It was a feeling of sadness, a feeling of parting which gripped me. I just, I cannot forget that 2.5 hours flight that evening. Completely wiping my tears, thinking that I cannot see the little one every day. Obviously, you long for it, right? That happened, and I went back, and I was so attached that I literally started coming back to Bombay every fortnight, just to spend the weekend with him. And these things went on, and little amount of love, drive with Papa, to dine with Papa. He used to sit with me all went on as his work. I came back, and he came running. He couldn't realize it was money, it was his birthday. Right. The day moved on, evening get together, a bunch of friends, I obviously didn't know all of them, a bunch of friends, families, very surprisingly, there was a similar comment which was made again. He doesn't look like you at all. And it was from one of the strangers I didn't even know. I was quite disturbed this time. It left me bewildered. I had a sleepless, disturbed night, really frenzied and hassled. Next morning, I woke up and I asked my spouse, asking her, why is this, why are people telling this? And I asked her that, what's your opinion of doing a paternity DNA test? She was like, I was faced with hatred, I was faced with criticism, I was even threatened, dare not to ask it, because it's a moral, I'm questioning the moral of the character. Obviously, having nothing much to do, I obviously spent a few more days in Bombay and went back to my workplace. That's what happened, and then I again came back in the month of May 2011 to spend some time with the child and the family. In the morning I came back, I had some work. I was very shocked. Evening around 9 o'clock in the evening, when my wife had launched a claim against you. I was like, okay, said something wrong, something really drastically wrong. Something. To do is that I went back to these guys in my forthcoming visits and to my workplace. I confronted the police with the details of my forthcoming visits, my flights, saying that I apprehend threat. And obviously, this was a piece of paper for them amongst the pile of papers as we all see in the police station. But for me, it was a shield to protect myself, right? As I thought so, at least. This happened, and during Medasera, I came back during the Share, and I definitely had decided by then. I had already confirmed to myself that I'm going to do a paternity DNA test. I questioned a lot of information. A lot of people called up some global, medical legal fraternities and stuff. And that's what. So after I spent time, whenever I was here, I spent time with the kid. And I was basically myself. And we was the collection center of the most renowned DNA of India. Briefly, 3 or 4 was secure, just to be flown out now to a different in India. In laboratories, 25th of October. All of a sudden, she just walked out with the child. Relax. I was shocked standing at her. Any clue I And when I went there, I saw my wife. I saw her brother-in-law and one of her friends trying to lodge some complaint against me. I was asked to sit aside in a corner of the station. I could understand understand nothing, right? All I could see is that she was continuously talking on the phone back to back over numerous calls and trying to write down something on a huge piece of paper, pages after pages. The senior in charge of the police station walked in, he saw at me, looked at me, I think just passed away. I was quite disturbed. What's happening? The whole day went over at around 4:10. So this, I'm telling you, around, like, I went to the police station at 10:45 in the morning, and at 4:10 p.m. in the evening, they gave me a form, 2 or 3 sheets of paper, lots of information to be filled, which they had already filled up. And I was asked to give my thumb impressions and sign it. The heading of the form read something like this. It was an arrest or a court surrender form. I was like shocked. Like, why am I being arrested? What have I done wrong? All they say to me is that your wife has filed a complaint against you under section 498A of IPC. I was like, this was alien to me. I didn't even know what ABC of law was. I just signed it. I had no options. All my efforts to explain them, justify them, proved futile and worthless. I think all of us have some bit of experiences of dealing with government agencies, and I'm not trying to ridicule them. With a harrowing night spent in just to be presented next day. And this was, all of this was happening just 2 days after I did the DNA test. The results had not even come. The results were almost 20 days away. I had no clue. So after spending the harrowing night, this was Monday morning, I recollect 29th of October. Yeah, 9 a.m. in the morning, a series of formalities, literally palms, black ink for fingerprint impressions, and I was handcuffed and pushed inside the police remand van. The van straight drove down with me and some other criminals to a government hospital for a medical checkup, and from there, straight to the court. I stood barefoot with all of the criminals in the court, and this was 3 p.m. in the evening, 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Yeah, on my case number being called, I was just pushed inside by the police in front of the judge. Hardly a minute, I was pulled out by my collar and thrown inside a lockup within the court premises. I had tears in my eyes. I was like, what have I done? What is wrong? No clue. I had no one with me. Obviously, I couldn't tell my mom because, poor lady, she was sitting miles away and she would have done nothing apart from being tense and worried. I had 2 friends of mine and a friend who stays in Australia. His parents are extremely close to me, so his father was with me here. Around 5:30 in the evening, they again handcuffed me out of the lockup in the courtroom, pushed me back to the police remand van, and there the journey began. A long ride across the roads of Bombay. I've been in Bombay for so long time, but I couldn't even imagine the roads. I think perhaps my mind didn't allow me to recognize roads. And all of a sudden, after almost 40 minutes journey, I see myself in the doors of Arthur Road Jail in Bombay. I was like, and there was just these 2 police constables with me. I was like, why am I here? What have I done wrong? Who's going to get me out of here? Obviously, these guys had nothing to say. They only had, you have to give him judicial custody. Series of checks. I have a thankful experience. A series of checks. Almost a strip search. A series of formalities, and this kept on happening from 6:37 in the evening, and by the time I could cross all the doors of Arthur Road Jail, I lack with nothing less than hundreds of criminals here. These are all under trials who are being tried in different courts and different cases. Right? It is like a harrowing experience. I had tears flowing down my eyes, but you guys can't even believe that there's not even a handkerchief allowed inside to wipe your tears, because you might strangle someone with your handkerchief. Okay, there's not even a single metal pipe inside the jail, because there are people who are accused in NDPS cases who might hit someone and kill someone. So it's all it's ridiculous. Sleepless nights. By the time I woke up in the morning, Tuesday, it's literally a sleepless night. You hardly have any place to sleep. There are 300 people kept in a place in one barrack, which would probably have an accommodation of 100 people. Right? Tuesday morning, I woke up to the announcements, Jameen, Haziri, Mulaqat. By the time I could understand those terminologies, the day was over. Neither I had anyone to come and meet me for a mulaqat, nor did I get bail, so there was no Jameen. Another day passed on, another sleepless night. I was just praying to God. You literally didn't have anything because you were not in a mindset then, right? You literally have forgotten everything. Next day morning, when I was really, really hungry on Thursday, I just as I stood in the queue to just get some food for myself. I think God answered my prayers. My name was called out in the list of Jameen. I walked out of the barrack with lots of feelings inside. Looked back. I felt something inside my heart. It was an experience of a lifetime. One of my friends came to take me in Athro jail. Straight from the jail to the court to take a copy of my bail order, which read that I have to be present in the police station every fortnight to give Haziri. Straight to the police station and then back home. Just to quench my thirst and have a spell of hot shower. There was no one at home, neither my spouse nor the little child. The whole house was scattered. Even the indoor cameras were like switched off with the cable torn. This was 1st of November. I left the city back to my workplace. No one knew anything except my friends and the father of my friend. Even my mom and my family didn't knew anything. They knew something was wrong, but all I told them was everything was fine. Back to my workplace and it continued. This was on the 17th of November, if I recollect the date, 15th or the 17th. It was a Saturday. I was sitting in one of my service apartments back where I work. It was 12:30 at noon. I got a call from the director of the DNA testing lab in India. And he spoke to me for a few minutes. I was like, yeah. All they called me to reveal information was that it's 100% confirmed that I'm not the father of my child. I was clueless. I was speechless. The earth really shattered down to below. It was unbelievable. It was really unbelievable. They kept on speaking to me for a while, just to try and distract my attention to someplace else. But I just couldn't believe this. All I remember that I was in an utter state of shock, and I collapsed. To wake up in the evening to one of my friends back in the city where I was working, with his two daughters sitting next to me. This was the story, and then this happened, and I kind of literally fought back with the DNA test labs guys, saying that, are you sure? Are you really sure that you have not mixed up the blood? And they all answered me that there was only, they say that if you think your blood mixed with someone else, we can definitely take your blood again. But there was only one blood card which came across India that day, and that was of your child. It was not a blood tube, it was a blood card which is imported from US. So there's absolutely no question of getting this mixed. Fortunately, unfortunately, because of where I worked, what I did, I even found out some messages of hers, uterus messages. Anyways, so that's what happened. And then, once this happened, by another 1.5 months, this was around this week, I received another email from a lawyer in Bombay, representing my wife, of domestic violence filed against me. The court summoned me to one but the courts in Bombay came. Attended the courts and the police stations. Obviously, I couldn't do my job. Literally leaving me homeless. Just before leaving the city, I met my mom briefly, very briefly, and my family. I shared with them what has happened to me over the last 4 months. my mom was shocked. We were sitting in a restaurant and I was shocked. I could see her just getting up, going aside, wiping her tears and coming back to me. She hugged me. She held me by my hands and she told me that, I'm there with you. Have faith in God, He will get justice. This was my mom. I looked at her, touched her feet, sought her blessings, without even looking back. I straight flew down to Bombay. I'd lost a family, I'd lost a child, I'd lost a settled job. Most importantly, I had lost my reputation and respect in this society. What else do I have to do? Nothing. But I had that belief in myself. I had the conviction, because my conscience knew more than myself whether I was guilty or not. Well, weird questions coming to my mind. It all came, I remember those days and I cannot still even forget those days. I was questioning myself. Isn't my mom, as a woman then, not a victim of trauma, not a victim of violence? How I have been treated in the society as a criminal, I have been termed, I have been labeled as a criminal, even before I was proven guilty. How I struggle to survive every day in this society. To look up and say, I'm not guilty. You won't believe what it takes when you have to defend yourself before society, before my family, friends, before the police and the judiciary. I do not know if any one of you have been in such situations. When you walk into the courts, when you walk into the police stations, way before that, I have to defend myself that I'm not guilty. I wake up every morning to tell myself that I'm not guilty. I'm innocent. I deserve love. I deserve respect. I deserve happiness. How I run across the corridors of the judiciary every month till now to prove my innocence. I really do not know how long I have to do this. I really do not know. But I'm willing to. Horrified. I was horrified and shocked. But I knew that if anything that I had to defend myself was my knowledge, was gaining knowledge. The knowledge of law, its applications and its precedents. My interest in law grew so much, I started reading to scores and scores of materials available online, and I literally landed up taking admission in law. To that extent, I was invited by one of the renowned colleges of Bombay and the Law Commission of India to write a few white papers for them, and this was in 2013-14. You'll be surprised. I was shocked to see the NCRB data. If any one of you know what is NCRB, it's called the National Crime Record Bureau of India. It takes a record of every case that is filed. I was reading at this chapter 2, which is suicide victims. And the data is somehow like this. Total, and this is 2014 report, 5.1% of the victims, suicide victims, who have committed suicide because of marriage-related issues, is total is 5.1% of the share. 21.7% of the share of these total victims are related to other family problems. When you look at these figures from the absolute numbers, I'll give you the exact headline. It is victims by social status. The total number of men that committed suicide in 2014 was 89,129 versus, think of it, you'll be shocked. Literally be shocked. There's 45,521 women. 89,000 men approximately versus 45,000. This is the total state by social status. But if I break down this data even further, the married men which committed suicide, the numbers were 59,744 versus the married women who committed suicide was 27,064. What does this figure say? I started reaching out to people across the city, across India. And I obviously, without naming any of them, any one of them is obviously here today. I know that. I realized something. Innocence cannot be defined by. Innocence cannot be defined by gender. I literally look back and I say to myself, I've lost my family, I've lost a son, I've lost a social status in the society. What else do I have to lose? I could have been one of those statistics to escape the torture following me to death. But I chose to stand and fight. My journey of life has just begun. I have complete faith in the judiciary and I hope justice will be delivered one day. Thank you.
Now we have a 30-minute break, so you can use the coupons on your tickets to get drinks at the bar and food will be served shortly. Thank you.
I hope everyone's enjoying their food and the stories are inspiring enough. Kindly switch off your phones or put them on silent mode as they're disturbing a little.
Okay, so we have a big round of applause for our next speaker, Sapna Bhavnani.
Can you hear me? Yeah, so I don't need the mic. Can I? Yeah, is that okay? If you can't hear me, let me know and then I'll. The mic is.
I suggest you use the mic, ma'am.
You know what? I use my hands a lot. Okay, fine. So I might just bring the mic in. Okay, yeah. If I feel it, I feel it.
Now you can really hear me, yeah? Alright. Hi, my name is Sapna. Today, I think I'm going to talk about something that a lot of us as kids kind of deal with, and it's called What Do I Want to Be When I Grow Up? So, I'm going to be 45 years old, and I still don't know what I want to be. That's what we're going to talk about, yeah? Okay. So I grew up in Bombay. I come from a very lovely middle-class family. My grandfather, when we came from Pakistan to India, was a lawyer, and he wanted his son, which was my father, to also be a lawyer. So he had high hopes and packed him off to Spain and said, "Go, study, become a lawyer, and come back." My father, the lovely man that he is, came back learning the flamenco. It was beautiful. So this is the lovely family that I come from. My mom, not educated at all, still the most educated person I know. She comes from a very, very humble family from Pune. And while growing up, it was great because she didn't know English. And, you know, all kids, when they come from, when we moved from Pakistan, my father had decided that we were only going to speak in English. And so no Sindhi was ever taught to us kids. And so my mom, who did not know how to speak English, kind of learned English from us. And now I think she should have been here speaking because she's like the most fantastic speaker I know. So I'm just giving you an intro of my family before I start my speech because I am fucking proud of them. All right. So my family, growing up, I have two brothers. And you know, like all kids, they always have a dream, right? We always want to be something. We read, we look at superheroes. Sometimes you want to be like Superman. Sometimes you want to be a lawyer. Sometimes you want to be a doctor. Sometimes you want to be an engineer. You're always so excited as a child. And my mom was always so worried about me because I wanted to be nothing. And all these kids were making fun of my mother, like, your daughter is a loser, like she just doesn't want to be anything. And she kept on saying, no, I have hope. One day she will become something. It's going to happen, right? And so days pass and, you know, friends talk, and our kids, my brother was very determined, I'm going to be a pilot. That's what I'm going to do. And my youngest brother was just, you know, he's the sweet guy that he is. Even at the age of 3, he knew he wanted to become a social activist. Why? We don't know. So he was made fun of by all the other kids because he was just a loser. And then he had this loser sister, which is me, who had no clue what she wanted to be. So one day, this is the secret. This is where it all happens. My mother takes me to see this film. Alright, it's very dramatic. It's a Bollywood film. We're watching it. It's called Dayavan. Alright? No. And we're all watching it, and I'm looking at this, and I'm in my teens, so you know, you start appreciating men quite early, and I'm looking at this hunk, Vinod Khanna, and I'm like, oh my God. I know I can't be him, but I'm kind of beginning to realize what I want to be in life. So I finished the movie and we got home and I went running to my mother. I know what I want to be. She was so excited. She was like, Mithai lao, Mithai lao. I said, Mom, when I grow up, I want to be Dayawan. She quite didn't know what to say. So you want to be a mobster? Okay, whatever. But she was really excited because I had decided that I want something. And I think all parents are sure that their kids have a goal. Okay, right? So here I am, like I'm getting a little older and my Dayawan thing is happening. But then, you know, the 80s were happening and then the Indian thing was not looking so cool because here I am looking at like Michael Jackson, looking at Bruce Springsteen, and I'm like, wow, these guys are really cool. What is this Dayawan guy? I don't know. I think he's cool and all. And so I decided, okay, I'm changing my mind. I want to be a fashion designer. This is it. It is it. This is what I want to be, right? So I tell my mother, I'm really sorry. Dayawan can wait. Fashion is more important because even a mobster wants to look good, right? Yeah. So she was like, all right. So after my 10th standard, she packed me off to SNDT, and she said, okay, why don't you go learn what you want to do? So I went for my test. Damn, these tests are really hard. They expect you to know everything before you even get in. Wait a second, how do I know how to sew, do this, that? Why am I coming to you then? So guys, I bombed the test. I completely bombed the test. I did not get into SNDT. My career as a fashion designer was over. Then my mother said, listen, be a good Sindhi. Go to HR college, do commerce. So only because she had some influence there, I got in. Because my 60% was not getting me anywhere, right? So I get into HR college. Wow, I find out I am like the most happening person in college and I'm getting all the roses. I'm just like, wow, I could be a beauty queen. Yeah, that's it. So I told my mother, you know what? No, I think I want to be a beauty queen. And she was like, all right, whatever. In the meantime, my father was just like, just do what you want to do. I'm just going to dance in this corner. This is what I do best. Okay, that's great. So all the roses that I kept on getting were inspiring more and more because, hey, beauty queens, Rose Day, you're the most popular girl on campus. It doesn't get better than that, right? So my ego is a little inflated. I know I can get any man I want, you know, it's happening. I go win Karjim Khana. I'm Miss Karjim Khana. Hello, yeah. In school, I was, petted princess only because Pooja Bhatt was there, so she won. Petted queen only because Karan Kapoor wanted to get into Bollywood, and her father was Mahesh Bhatt, so she won. I'm just letting you know that. Otherwise, I would have won that title. That was mine. Anyway. So in my 12th standard of doing commerce, life is good, beauty queen as well as brains. Wow, it doesn't get better than that, right? So then my flamingo father decides I'm going to drink a lot and just kind of die on you. So when he just kind of dies on me, we're like, oh, what are we going to do now? Because my mom, like I said, never had studied a day in her life. We kind of found out that he had a lot of debts. So now, how do we pay the debts? What do we do? And my Kranti brother was like, oh, maybe I'll have to make money now. So this Krantikari thing is not going to quite work. So because I was such a rebel, my mother didn't know how to handle me. So she packed me off and sent me off to America. She said, okay, you know what? Off you go to America. Your aunt is going to pay for your education. You're the lucky child. I was very excited. I permed my hair because I wanted to be ready for America. Beauty queen, here I come. Right? So I get to America, and my aunt, who's a neurosurgeon and very rich, she has like some 15 cars. Yes, very serious. So she looked at me and she said, what do you want to do? Because we are going to put you in college. I said, fashion! This is my chance to go back to fashion. I'm in America. This is going to happen. And she looked at me, she's like, that's a waste of my fucking money. No. You are going to learn business. Okay. Even to the fact that she made me wear her doctor suits to college. So I was wearing ill-fitted, loose, baggy doctor suits to college with the big 80s perm. So it was like the funniest thing I'd ever seen. So now here I am in college, doing a degree in marketing and communications. God knows why, right? But because I wanted to get rid of college so fast that I was doing it, all day long, even in winter vacation, summer vacation, I was like, I just have to finish this college and let me just finish it, right? So somewhere in between there, I realized I want to move out of my aunt's house and live on my own in the city and go to college. My aunt did not like that, so she wrote a letter to the principal of the college, said, kick this woman out and send her back to America because I'm not going to pay for her education anymore. Now I had 1 semester left and a double major to finish. So you know what happens? The students of the college said, you know what? We are going to raise funds and pay for you. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, wow. So here I was, I'm like, are you sure? I don't really care for this degree, but okay. So I finished my degree. So you know, I have a double major in marketing communications with a minor in public speaking that I finished in 3 years, right? Now I have all this ammunition and I don't know what to do. I'm like, what do I do with this? Okay, let me get a job. So I get a job, I go to the bank and I said, I would like to work here as a student loan officer. And they looked at me and they said, yeah, okay, your qualifications check out. Please, Miss Bhavnani, please start working here. So 1 week into the job, I decided to get my nose pierced and show up in a miniskirt. And they're like, you can't work in this bank with your nose pierced and a miniskirt. I'm like, but I'm Indian. We all have nose rings. So the naive woman says, can you get a letter from the priest saying that it is religious, that you have to have your nose pierced? So this automatically tells me that this is not the job for me, right? Any place that tells you what you can wear and cannot wear, not happening. So that was the end of my student loan officer career. And now it was up to me, what do I do? I look at all these lovely graduates and they're making their money being investment bankers, making $20,000 a year. And they're really proud, they're wearing their expensive shoes and their expensive, suits. So I said, you know what? I'm going to be a bartender because I love to drink. I love to get people drunk. What better job is there to do? Let me be a bartender. So this is how I became a bartender. And the most beautiful part was I was making 5 times the money these guys were making and all in cash. Yeah, in cash. So now there is this jealousy thing happening because they're like, what the heck, we just work from 9 to 5 and you go for like 3 hours and wear whatever you want to wear and you walk out with no money, more money. I was like, yeah, life is good. Life is really good. So one day, this whole drinking thing of mine that I really love to do, and as we all know in India, it runs common amongst our men, not women, but men. And from what I hear, domestic violence just seems to be like the fabric that ties us all together. It's like, wow, it's amazing. And everybody thinks it's okay, chalo beta, ek thappad da, no problem. Okay, yeah, okay, whatever. So back to my story though, right. So here I am now, this highly accomplished bartender, making a lot of money, figuring out now what do I do with my life because I get bored really fast. So 3 years, 2 years, 2 more years go by, and now 5 years of bartending is a bit much, right? So I figured, you know what? I'm going to leave Chicago and I'm going to move to Los Angeles because there has to be a fashion designing job waiting for me there. Because in the end, this is all I wanted to be, right? So one day, a few nights before leaving Chicago, here I was at this bar because it was one of my farewell parties, getting really, really, really drunk, which I really love to do. And I'm a really fun person when I'm drunk. Really, I kid you not, right? So I got really drunk and around like 2 or 3 in the morning, I decided, okay, it's time for me to go home. It was like Christmas Eve and I wanted to just get home and the next day start packing because I was gonna move. So on my way home, this wonderful, I was wearing a mini skirt, I think this short, hold on. Yeah, right there, yeah, that's it. And I was wearing high heels and I had my lipstick on, which I love to wear. And I started walking home, by myself, no big deal. With that, while I was doing it, drunk as a skunk, there were these 4 guys who came out of nowhere. And I was so drunk that I couldn't even really, look at them. I mean, they looked good, I think. I don't know, right? I don't want to harp too much time on this. So the 4 guys decided, you know what? We're just going to have you. and you have no say in the matter, because you know what, bitch? Look what you're wearing, and you're drunk, and you know what? You deserve it. So just like that, here I was, sitting here all ready to go home with my favorite career and my friends. I got gang raped. While I was gang raped, I'm like wondering, did this shit really happen to me? Like, because that's what we always think, right? It can't happen to me. I mean, no way. It only happens to those people over there, somewhere in another world. It could never happen to me. So then I started going home, and when I reached home, I realized, okay, is this the career that I want? Do I want to be a survivor? I don't know if I was prepared for that. Like, this is not the career that I'm really quite prepared for. Like, do I really want to get out there and tell people, this is it? I just got, I can't even say the word like most people. Like when I was called for this talk, Shivani told me, I think you should talk about your experience. Which experience, Shivani? I have like 5 million of them. You know, that one. This is what I'm saying. So it's so uncomfortable to even say the word. And I was like, okay, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it at the back of my head. I'm going to move on, write a futures. So this is what I did. I made the conscious decision. I was not going to be here. I was not going to sit and harp about it and talk about it, blah, 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 blah. So I got to Los Angeles and I become the best me, which is a poet. I start once again, drinking a little bit and writing poetry all day long. And there was this favorite bus stop that I used to go to every night. I used to stand there and recite poetry. And before I knew it, I had an audience of 2 people, 5 people, 10 people, 60 people. So I became the bus stop poet. I thought that was a fantastic career to move to, right? Now this writing career was going really well and I was like, damn, I have everything I want in life. Like a good Indian, I wanted to own a house in Los Angeles before 30. So guess what? At 31, I had a home in the hills. I had the perfect Elvis look-alike boyfriend. I had 2 cats, 1 dog, and a Cadillac Coupe de Ville, 450cc motorcycle. I had everything. So I wake up one day and it's like, shit, I have everything. Now what do I do? Because what can you do when you have everything? You can just buy a bigger house. I don't know, more pets? I don't know, where does it stop? You're just like, So I came to India, and when I came to India, my high school sweetheart was still waiting around for me. He said, Sapna, just come and marry me. I said, but dude, I don't love you. Like, yeah. He said, yeah, but I do. And I was like, okay, this could be like, arranged marriages. It happens in India. At least I've slept with him, so I know it all works out, right? So I was like, okay, cool, let's do it. So I go back, sell my house, dump my boyfriend, and move to India. So here I am with a profession, no profession, but this guy who wants to marry me. So I get married to him. And I kid you not, in 3 months, he beats the shit out of me. And I was like, no way am I becoming a domestic violence survivor. This is not happening to me. Like, no. And that also from this little shrimp that I get beat up. Like, no. So anyways, I think it was cool. I took it the next morning, packed my bags, never saw him again. I still run into him somewhere. He's become fat and ugly and nobody wants to marry him. Yes. But no, I just want to tell you, I did not go to the cops. I did not go to the cops then. I did not go to the cops. I was getting ready. Make sure I'm very clear about this, right? And this is how my career in India started. I started being a hairdresser. And as this hairdresser, I met the most amazing people who had the most amazing stories to tell me. And for some reason, every day, they'd sit in my chair and go, bleh, and tell me stories. And that's when I realized that there are so many amazing people, and they could trust me to tell me even their deepest stories. And in all my careers, there was one thing that I had not done yet, and which was be honest with myself. And so I decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I am actually going to stand up and I'm going to say that word, gang rape, because it's a really, it's not a good word, really. And I think when you say it, you kind of have to accept that it happened to you, but if you don't say it, it's like it didn't exist, So I decided that I was going to stand up. It was time to stand up and tell you my story. The reason I didn't do it before is because this is what happens. You stand up and you tell someone, oh, I was raped, oh, fuck, you're a hero. Why? Why am I a hero? Because some bad stuff happened to me that I had no control of? No, this is not why I want to be a hero. I don't want to be a hero because 4 morons came and perpetrated me and I didn't do anything about it. No, that's not how it's going to go down. But yes, I started working. This is what I wanted to do now. So I started working to stop acid attacks. I started going out and I started seeing what can I do to make things better for people around me. My goal was not to touch the world. My goal was not to be a politician. My goal was not to do anything. But the 2 people that kind of, come around me, maybe I can do something good for this one, who can in turn do something good for something else. Once that started spreading like a virus, I realized, all right, if I tell you my story and you put me on a pedestal, I fucking earned it. I earned it. It was not because I'm a survivor, because that is one career that I really don't care for, right? So there are lots of things. Here I am today speaking to you. I still don't know what I want to be, right? But I do know one thing. I do know what I don't want to be. I don't want to be afraid. I don't want to have to wear clothes just because I want to look like an Indian woman. I have come here wearing the clothes that I love to wear, which is a black dress, which is my red lipstick, and I will always wear this. I still go out and get drunk. I still walk alone in the middle of the night, because you know what, guys? The minute you fear, they have won already. And that's not what's going to go down like that, right? Yeah. So I would just like to end this talk. Just there's this one quote that I live by, and this is the only thing I think I could end this talk with, which is, "Jo na jaane haq ki taakat, Rab na deve usko himmat." It means those who don't know the power of their own truth, God does not give them courage. Thank you so much.
The journey of this 31-year-old Malad resident, Dipesh Tank, is one of grit, determination and hard work. As a young boy, his life was filled with struggles and challenges. However, as he grew up, he found solace in helping people and thus founded an NGO, Youth for People, with a group of friends. He was at home when the bomb blast in the trains of Mumbai happened. After he saw this news on TV, something just made him go there and help the victims, said Dipesh. This incident changed him from an irresponsible average person to what he is today. He is also the founder of War Against Railway Rowdies campaign, which helps prevent harassment on women travelling by the local train. We call him the silent messiah of Mumbai. He has been serving people selflessly, but at the same time is a shy person. He is one person who cannot see anyone in trouble. Dipesh Tank.
Wow. We don't have to stand here.
Yes, a little more here.
Shivani?
A
little more here?
That's good.
Sapna, you're such an inspiration. Wow. Like, she set up the benchmark out there. I'm like, what am I going to talk? Thank you, Shivani. I think it's awesome. I feel Kranti guys, super. Like, we need more of you guys to be in the society. I think it's awesome. Keep up the good work. And everybody else who spoke before me, I think I feel really small in front of each and everyone who spoke before me. Okay. There was a brief introduction about how Youth for People started and war and everything. But I'm going to share today a story which actually gave me an understanding of how and what this life is, and do I really need to go running out for the ambition. Sapna just said something before that she doesn't know what she wants to be, and I think I'm more or less around that path. I don't know what I want to be, to be very honest. And the best thing is to glide, and I think that's what she's doing. She's always been my inspiration, so I'm just going to say a few things about her. I was 16 years old when I got my first job. I would say I was pushed into that job because I was not great at written education. I didn't, for some reason I never felt like sitting with a book on my lap and keep studying history, geography, science, maths. So my father said, you should get into skill learning, skill education. So I'm like, okay. I was asked to work as an office boy in this one small-time company called Infoweb, where
I was the guy who opens the office at 10 o'clock and then pani bharo, jhadu maro. Then you basically, I was a delivery guy, so I used to go and shift monitors from Andheri to Bombay Central and get it back. A lot of learning happened out there. But I used to live, at the time, I didn't know what I was doing. So I was just, because my father told me I have to do this, and I'm like, okay, I'll keep doing it. And while I learned something, I learned something. But there is one thing that I used to live for throughout that time was my evening snacks. That one kachori, vada pav and samosa. That was my joy. That is what I used to look up to every day. I used to wake up in the morning thinking about how I'm going to enjoy that samosa and kachoris in the evening. And I used to live for that most of the time, and I used to go and work in that office because I'm assuming that my boss will tell me, go get something for yourself to eat. My mother used to give me 5 rupees at that time. For 1.5 years, the gentleman I was working with did not pay me a salary because he thought that he's doing a favor on me to keeping me at his office where I'm learning something new, which was very true also because whatever I know about computers is because of them. So I kind of feel gratitude towards them. After 1.5 years, I got a salary of 700 rupees, which I was so happy about that all this while I could eat only one vada pav every evening. One vada pav every evening with 4 glasses of water because I wanted to fill my stomach. And the joy of eating the vada pav, I cannot tell you guys. Like, I'm serious, like the joy was amazing. After 1.5 years, when he gave me a salary, I'm like, wow, I can have 1 samosa, 1 vada pav and 3 glasses of water. So 1 glass of water was cut off and I'm like, wow, this is awesome. My salary from 700 rupees, it went on to 800 and then 1000. When it became 1000 rupees a month, it was about 3 years I was working in this place. And by then, he used to allow me to sit on the computer. For 1.5 years, he did not let me touch any computer in the office because he's like, you're a learner, you need to first just observe. 1000 rupees gave me 1 vada pav, 1 samosa, and 1 kachori. That was awesome. And I just had 1 glass of water then. So like out of 4 glasses of water, it came down to 3 and then 2. And then now I just had 1 glass of water. 5 years I was working there and for some reason, I had to leave that place. I was asked to leave rather, yeah. And I'm like, what am I going to do about this? Now I need a job, I need to run my house, I need to figure out a lot of things, My friend Conrad is a very dear friend. I think I give him credit for this because he is the guy who told me, there is something called this call center, you should go for it. And I'm like, what is it? What do they do there? So like, you basically talk. So I'm like, okay, so I have to go and talk to people. Okay, fine. And then who are the people? They're like Americans. They're like Firangis. I'm like, seriously? He takes me to this place called Sitel, where I entered in my first interview in a multinational company, where I have to just talk in front of, there was a group discussion happening and I was asked to talk in something on neutral English, which is not very basic English. So I got selected in the interview and there was a lady from the HR, she told us that, okay, this is your salary package, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay. So I read the letter, which was 13500 as 13,500, okay. I told her like, I woke up to the lady and I said like, ma'am, is my salary 1300? I mean, I used to get like 1500 before this job. Can you please fix this? And she looks at me and she's like, no, it's not 1300, 13,000 rupees, 500. Trust me, it actually made me feel that how many more vada pavs and kachori I'm gonna have. Like I can actually like see it showering on my head. I'm telling you, like, trust me, forget about buying houses or getting married or anything. I'm like, let's talk about vada pavs and kachoris. And then it went on to quite I kept getting raised, and one thing I realized all this while, and then it reached to a level where I never imagined a guy like me could ever get a salary of like 40,000 rupees a month. And I'm like, I still want more. Today I can eat as many vada pavs and kachori I want, but I still want more. Where does this stop? it has to stop somewhere. And if this one life that we have, and we have to make a difference, then are we doing that? I don't want to die making 1 crore PPTs for my clients. I don't want to die making artworks, or no, I was an ad man, I was working in an ad agency, so I don't want to die making like, oh, what did you do? Oh, I did make like thousands of artworks every day, or every month, every year. I feel, like again I'm quoting Sapna, because she said like she wants to do little, like everything around us. It's important to be responsible, and in every little way you think you can. Not everybody has to start off with a movement or start up an NGO or anything else. This one life we have, everything is here. This rush of reaching out somewhere is kind of killing our present moment, We want to buy a house which is like 2 crore rupees, and we fight ourselves to reach to that level. And when you get that house, you're not able to enjoy that house. Probably you might not be well at the time. So it's important to live the present, and I think that's where I don't know what I want to be, and I don't want to be too ambitious about my life. I want to go with where my life is taking in. So I'm happy with the vada pavs and kachoris that I keep getting every day, as in when I want to eat. And yeah, I feel that it's important that we all realize the fact that this whole running behind ambition and money is, I don't know how much it's fun. It's sometimes to stop and just be with ourselves, to be who we are and what is our objective on this planet. We all have our own reasons to be here, and if we can find that and figure that out, I think we can be of more good to the society. And sorry to be a little preachy, but I didn't want to go there, but yeah. Okay, can I close this? Thank you. Thank you, Shivani. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Harry, for this.
His drive to spread good ideas, and more importantly providing solutions for pressing everyday problems, makes him an entrepreneur on a mission. With an abundant experience in curation, he has a knack for identifying and putting these ideas on stage before anyone else. Senior Ambassador for TEDx in India and the curator for TEDx Gateway, let's hear from Yashraj Akashi how he has turned his passion into work.
First disclosure, I'm working today, we have an office, so that's why the entire thing. And second of all, there's a conference that's happening in the next 6 days. So we are curating around 24, 25 different speakers. Trust me, when you're looking at 25 different scripts, you just don't have the bandwidth to make your own. But whatever you write in the stroke of the midnight, which makes you get up and write it, is usually something that doesn't change. So this is what I'm talking about. I'm going to talk to you about the passage and a full stop. So a lot of people out here that will be talking to you, or that have started, that have already spoken, have a strong idea. My work as a senior ambassador and as the curator of a certain conference is finding such people. It gets so difficult to find ideas every time when you're looking at 1,000 people, 2,000 people a year, and saying, I'm going to pick 30 people from these 2,000 and put them on stage. And then you start realizing that maybe, they're so inspiring. You're not as inspiring as them. So let me also tell you, this idea is not about me. This talk is not about me. It's about these people. And I've come to believe over the last 6 years that it's okay not to have an idea of your own, but it's also a big thing to be able to give a platform to people that need such a voice. And that's what I've been doing, and that's what I'm here to tell you about. Over the last 6 years, literally 6 years, and putting 300 odd speakers on stage, I have figured out the big difference that really mattered to me in being a passage to being a full stop. A lot of people actually have an idea of their own, and it's all about them. It actually takes a very different bend of a mind to start being a passage, to allow all of them through you on something that you believe in, and keep that belief in them, and put them on stage and make sure their idea goes forward. Every time people will ask me saying, why are you not on stage? Why don't you have a talk? Why is it that you never give a TED talk? It's because you don't have an idea what's spreading. You literally don't. And that's what I told Shivani for the longest time. In fact, she came to office to pick me yesterday and she's like, I'm just going to make sure you're going to come. And I said, I genuinely don't have an idea. I wish I did have the time, but I don't have the time, and I'm just going to be able to share something that is about these people. And that's what comes to the most interesting part of my work. It's not me, it's working with these people. A few of the people that I've met accidentally, most of them accidentally, have been people I've literally just chatted up and asked what has been their idea or story, or just listened to them and figured out how are they helping people. One example being Chaurasiya. I don't know if most of you have heard about her. She runs the Mumbai-based bank, which started off being a small self-help group, a self-empowered group of women who would save 5 rupees in a small circle, a small chit fund, because the banks would find 5 rupees a day very expensive to keep. And when I was talking to her, I just met her at Guru Kripa at Sai, and she was having samosa on the table next to me. She was discussing samosa on the table next to me. She was discussing this. I just walked up and said, "What do you do?" And she said, "We just came after meeting the deputy governor of RBI. He's not giving us a license, and these women were very upset. They were crying. I thought I'll bring them to have." I mean, I literally chanced upon that idea at Guru Kripa. And the entire story is so amazing. 6 women kept on going and meeting the deputy governor saying, "Give us a banking license. We don't have people to bank with. We don't have a state bank. We have the money, but it's just 5 rupees a day. We'll earn up to 75,000 a week. But the bank says that's too difficult for us to operate a bank." And talking to her further, I realized, why is she doing this? She said these women want to save because their husbands will take the money off, even if it's 5 rupees. And that led me to think, this is such a powerful idea. When you come from an affluent background, when you come from a background where you've seen money, when you've been given pocket money and all, you don't understand the value of that 5 rupee being saved from a husband who will usually drink and who'll be drinking at night, throwing away that money. She said, "We need a bank." And I said, "I have a platform there. Let's go and talk about this, that they need a bank." And that's how it started. 6 months later, she was on stage. She's grown from not only having a bank across 7 different regions in Maharashtra, she's also has an MBA program for women with 75,000 women learn basics of finance, basic accountancy. That made me feel proud. For me, I was a passage and not a full stop to that idea. So that was one idea. So as you go further, you find such people. There's another speaker right after me called Angad Daryani, and I met Angad at some, I think at IIT, at some MIT fest, and I was asking this kid, what is he doing? And he's like, "No, I'm fed up. I'm not doing anything. I'm just fed up." And that led me to think a 14-year-old kid is actually so frustrated in life, and I'm 25, 26, and I'm wondering why is he so frustrated. He said, "I didn't clear this exam, and I didn't get through this IB school, and my parents are upset, and I'm just fed up." Okay, calm down. You're just 14. I do these things. I make such devices. I really want to change the education system, and then you're like, "You're 14. No, I think the way they teach things is wrong. They don't really understand. You're supposed to have marks." I agree. And again, the thing saying, "I'm just tired of all this." Looking at a 14-year-old kid lose hope so early made me really feel so upset that time, and I said, no, you got to do something about this. And that guy has potential. When he comes and tells you about all of it, he has a story also. But when he comes and tells you all of this, you'll know the potential that is there. Maybe millions like him. People that try to fit into the system, but really don't fit in because the system is defined. The curriculum, expected rates and all. I really felt exactly what I was going through when I was maybe 13, 14, when I did not clear in certain papers, and I was quite upset because my parents said, I was so good at this, why are you so bad at it? And I said, I'm bad at it. Let's just accept it. And things used to not go good. But then there was a kid who really had a brilliant idea. Let me tell you what he made. He made an iPad for the blind. So EYE, pad for the blind. And he had that vision, right? It was just about presenting that vision. So I said, you know what, I'll train you. I'll figure out how to do that. We'll train you. And I said, okay, let's start with trying to make this bigger picture easy. And we sat with the person, we sat down and picked up small points that made sense. Why is it required? He said, the blind population in India is the largest in the world. I said, oh, I didn't know that. 40% of the world's blind population in India are our currency note does not, I mean recently it's just, I don't know, but a currency note does not have an identifier for the blind. Then he said the blind cannot really read anything that they want. So, okay, right. And why is it that we have the liberty of just buying an Apple iPad, whereas they don't have the liberty of doing anything? The closest they can get to is a 3 lakh rupee braille printer, or books that are only made for education. They don't really have a life, and for them reading means a lot, reading and listening means a lot. So I said, you know what, that's a big idea. Put him on stage, and the kid a night before really did not have a script and was so scared. Like, listen, Angad, the core of your idea, and that's what we all come to, what is the core? You want to change and make people believe that change that you want to bring in the education system can get people like you to do better. And there are many like you. There are many who are not in IITs, there are many who are not in IIMs, but there are people who are really making a big difference. Like that quote that comes into mind that Bill says, some of the most intelligent people are solving the dumbest problems. And you see some of the most amazing computer scientists, PhD, trying to figure out how do you get to click an ad. You know, all of them are working on such stupid things. And this was a kid who did not get into the education system because he said, the teacher said you're too much on the computer. And one of those reasons, I said, that's so bad. And he went on stage and he said that, a standing ovation. It worked. But what happened a month and a half later really made me feel so proud of being a passage again. The talk went to over 50,000 odd people, and the comments that were there were teachers, there were principals, there were students, there were people showing the talk to their parents. There were people who were trying to say, you know, I know what it feels like. I am 50 years old. I am the head of persistent systems. I did not have a degree as such, and I still went against the system. This kid has the potential. The talk kept on moving, and I think today like 4 lakh, 5 lakh odd hits with numerous shares. And I felt from an Angad who had left hope, is now giving hope to a lot of students. That was the importance of being a passage. And it's okay being a passage. It's okay if you don't have an idea what's spreading. It's okay. I mean, it's coming from a person who's put 300 people on a stage that says ideas were spreading. Trust me, it's okay being a passage. A lot of us literally sit and want to be defined by an idea, but it's okay not to be defined. You know, that led me to think further and try to find out people who are really doing something different. And there are 300 TEDx's across India. We license a lot of TEDx's. TEDx is an independently organized TED event. It's basically a license that we give to people saying, here's a guidebook, here's a format, you go through a few interviews, and then are allowed to find people that you think can be worthy. You train them, you put them on a platform. If you like the video, we'll put it up. So it's a nice way where TED gets free ideas filmed from you. And also it's a hyperlocal search engine of ideas as such. But again, what it is, it's a pipeline of people who really want these ideas. It's a concentrated pipeline. And that's what we maxed at TEDx Gateway. We found people that would be able to address very important issues to people who did not have the time to. You know, I'm literally looking at, today the guest list has around 10 billionaires. And the only reason why they sit there, I mean, I always wonder, why does he sit there? He has all the time he has such less time, and why is he spending 9 hours with us at this conference? And when I ask the person that, it's like, why? I don't have the time to look at these ideas. And I sometimes feel I don't have the bandwidth to be a part of a solution. So that's the reason I'm here, and let's support these ideas. To another person or a kid, just like Angad, who comes and says, I'm here to literally look at something new, to learn something new, to be able to come up with something new because I want to reinvent myself. I'm 17 right now. Is there? Angad's there, he's good. He's going to be next on stage. So again, being a passage, not only for the idea, but for people that come to see these ideas. A lot of times that the people ask me, why is it that you put in 9 to 10 months into making that one 9-hour day broken into 6.18 minutes of content? I mean, I have the math ready. But why is it that you do so much for one conference? And Shivani called up yesterday, she's like, I'm going to put these speakers, it's such a headache. I've been doing this, how do you do this for so many people? So one is you're driven, you really feel driven, and look at the job profile, right? You wake up in the morning and you're listening to people who have such different viewpoints of ideas. It'll never get boring. It'll never get boring. Every day I will be sitting and listening to either a person talking about why is it that only women have rules to protect themselves and not men. Good idea, man. Fact. You have a talk, let's make it. Or, you know what? I think there's something going to be like a superbug and that's going to kill us all because we're so immune to it. Wow, on a Sunday morning or what keeps me up till 5 o'clock in the morning or gets me to wake up at 7 a.m. on a Sunday to work and to in a suit is this. Is literally this. I mean, the joy of going and presenting these ideas to a guy who then comes and says, I'm high profile, I'm this minister, I want to do this. I said, there's no idea of spreading. What do we do? There is no idea of spreading. You know, and he believes you. Because he's been sitting there and he says, you know what? That kid you put up there, that lady you put up there are really doing something that I cannot do. You're right. I'll come back to you when there's an idea of spreading. Again, very important for being a passage. And that is what defined me. And it all comes down to this thing. Because everyone gave a little pass history, I'll tell you what I was doing. I started my journey in the semi-corporate world as a brand manager for a magazine called Jam. It was a lot of you, Sapna, I think you've been interviewed quite a few times in Jam. And it was amazing to work there because again, you could typically spot a good idea or something and try to work with it. And it was a platform, the whole logic of platform fit in there. And I used to double up as sales manager also. So it was a small team of 30 people that became 13 in the ending. But yeah, a lot of things went wrong. It was 2006, 7, 8 types. And that's when I quit and I said, you know what, I want to start my own magazine. And started with a small budget, started sponsoring college festivals. Went back to my college, sponsored them and just and it was all about creating a platform then. And I happened to have close interactions with a lot of bureaucrats. I think these are the most, for some of them are we have the obvious image of corruption, but trust me, the kind of work they do, or the kind of things they're supposed to do to keep us all even moving on a regular basis, a lot of the job is commendable. And I realized what real change is when I started working very closely with some of them. When you go down to a village and you see a self-help group or you see a group of women or so we call them, realize the first objective that they have is to earn money for the child, then to save money for the house. Then if the money is left, the husband takes it away. And this happened midway when I was typically earning marketing revenues, plugging some story here. And I realized I'm really doing something that amounts into rupees, INR. And it just made me feel so difficult about myself. Every day I felt like getting up in the morning, going to office and working on something interesting that eventually became INR, profit loss. How much did you earn? Okay, and what's your salary? Usually I don't think it's a happy feeling to get a check when you know you overwork. I said, I don't want to be rid of this. I would rather not earn I would rather get out, not earn anything, than to overwork and then feel underpaid and at the same time feel so menial that it was just INR. And that's where it started. And I took up an internship with the Election Commission of India that time. 2.5 into it, I was an officer on special duty with the media cell there. Second night I had a nice cow, bhakti during elections only. But it gave me a chance to interact with real issues. Even if it was election crisis, when we all say we don't have a voter's card, imagine we were able to give a 104-year-old lady a voter's card because the system would not accept digits. And the joy she had, she said, that's my identity. That made me feel more than the INR value. Made me go further, study for my civil services. I didn't clear, twice I didn't clear till the mains, and I was quite upset. And that's when I met this colleague of mine who was a junior ISRO scientist, learning Pali literature, so that Pali literature would be gamed easily in the civil UPSC exam, and geography. This guy is a junior ISRO scientist. He was 24, 25. He had all that it takes to become a great scientist who could typically be doing fabulous thing at ISRO and making our country proud, and he wanted to become a police officer. Because his father was, and he said, no one's going to marry a scientist. And I spent a year with him to realize, why are you doing this? Again made me realizing, why am I also doing it? Logically. And went on and went on and went on, and you really wanted to just struggle and wonder, what am I doing? How do I define it? That's when I started interning with TED in Delhi. There was a lady who gave me a chance to work in the TEDx Delhi outfit. And again, the interaction with ideas. And you had it all in you. You you knew that you wanted to be more than just the rupee thing. You wanted to be more than just working for a few people. And I also had an answer that if I ever got selected in civil services and I'm in front of a panel of ex-bureaucrats, I will have an answer saying, why would you want to do civil services? So the answer was very simple, and it's one of the only answers that I by hearted. And I believe for it. I have 2 hands and 2 legs. I don't want to work for 2 people above me. I'll work for maybe 10,000 below me. It makes me feel more useful. That's it. And that is exactly what I do even now. I find ideas, I am able to put them on a platform, amplify their ideas, put them to the right people. It's a different joy altogether when a speaker comes and says, we had that school issue. The school used to have no shed. Someone just walked up and said, my CEO called up and the steel for the entire school is yours. Don't ask us anything, just go do it. The other person calls up and says, you know what? I spoke about that community in Gujarat that know about voters card. Someone put a star question to Modi in the parliament with that talk and said, Mr. Modi, this is the issue in Gujarat. This is the way before. And now I'm giving 2 lakh voters card to this nomadic tribe, okay, who never had an identity. You just got so much by being just a passage. And then I stopped asking myself, what do I want myself to be defined as? I think this is more than enough. And again, being a passage, I would obviously really not want this to be my idea, but again, the next speaker is Angad. We found him when he was 14, 17. I'm very proud of him. And could you please? My script was here, but
It's okay, Yash. You're doing a good job.
We're really thankful for Yashraj to come to the event today in spite of his busy schedule due to TEDx Gateway, which is due on 5th of December. Thank you so much. Angad Daryani is a 17-year-old social tech entrepreneur who quit school in grade 9 and rejoined school in grade 11. With the passion of making things which solve real-world problems at a scale, he runs startups which can take devices out to a wider audience. Angad Daryani.
I was told that I have to speak today last night, so it's really impromptu. Yashraj spoke about me, and I owe a lot to him for the platform and the amount of people who are giving opportunities to products we create into their audience. So I studied in an SEC school till grade 9, and I did extremely well academically there, 95% plus, coming in top 3 of my grade. But in this whole process, since I was very young, I loved designing cars. And I used to watch TV shows like Art Attack and build craft models. Later it went on to going to my dad's office where he had a service center where people used to service solar inverters. I used to sit with his engineers and look at what they're doing. And I was extremely fired about technology at that time. And I was lucky that we were in the US vacationing when I was 8, and we were at the Lego store. So my dad gave me an option of buying a Mindstorm kit or a Nintendo Wii. At that time, it's a tough decision for a kid, right? You buy a cool video gaming console or a robot toy. I don't know what you do with it, because I was underage and it said 14 plus, I was 8. My dad's like, get whatever you want. So I went with the Mindstorm. I was an impulsive kid, I was at the store. And it's been the best decision of my life. When we came back, I sat 4-5 nights, didn't sleep. US jet lag is quite a lot, but I didn't bother with it. I started building the robot. And I got even more excited about technology. I started going to his office even more frequently. And with that interest came this whole passion for building things which solve real world problems. So till grade 9, I kept building things for IIT competitions, simple robots, solar boards, hovercrafts. And I realized that my school wasn't exactly supporting my work. So my grade dropped from 95 to about 85-ish, and that mattered. And moreover, when I was representing my school at state or national level science exhibitions, I didn't get a retest for missing a test. So that was ridiculous and frustrating, and that frustrated me to such an extent that, okay, I had to learn Marathi answers and by heart them. It made no sense to anybody, not even the teacher. And yet we had to by heart all those answers, spend endless hours doing something which didn't truly matter. So I kept sharing my frustration with my parents, and I used to go to this tutor for math, and he's a computer scientist. And he told my parents that there are ways of continuing my education and giving exams privately. That's what a lot of sports people do. especially when they're playing state or national. And it took 2 months or 1.5 months of continuous fighting and convincing that my parents finally said, yeah, if that's what he wants to do, let him quit school and we can do it privately. So everything I do, I owe to them, because they had that courage to, okay, go forward, do what you want to do. And unlike other kids who gave one board exams from one ICSE or IGCSE, I learned ICSE, IGCSE and iOS. I gave all of those exams. So I got exposure to all the boards. In that whole process of quitting school in 9th and 10th grade, for 9th and 10th grades, I finished my 10th grade exam a year earlier. That's when my classmates finished their 9th. So that gave me a whole year to do what I wanted to do. And when I was 14, I emailed a professor at MIT, he's Indian, Ramesh Raskar, and I said, I was a lot into 3D printing. I built my first printer when I was 13. And I used to share that technology with engineering students around us. So I sent him my profile, and within, I think, half an hour, I got an invite for an event which was 3 days later in India. So all these MIT professors, techies came down to India, selected 100 engineering students to look at problems in eye healthcare and building assistive technologies for the visually impaired. I'm 14, I'm going to work with PhD and master's students, and I have no clue about the eye. And that was my first experience on how do you solve real world problems in a week. So we had a week and 100 students looking at 25 different eye healthcare issues. And by the end of the week, we had 25 products to address those issues, and they later grew out into startups. So that whole exposure of how do you take a problem and quickly come up with a solution requires you to think outside the system. Okay, this is what already exists, people are paying 1 crore for it. How can you make something which costs 600, 700 rupees and still does something better than that device? So that exposure, that whole way of thinking, of problem solving is something that I value the most today. And I kept working with them for 2.5 years. I met Yashraj through MIT, where we had to pitch to Ratan Tata, and he came and trained us on how do you pitch to raise capital for social projects. And it was in October I met him, and December he's like, you're speaking at our event. And that is one event which completely changed my life, because it sort of put me out there. I was confined to a lab or a room where I was building things for fewer people. I wanted a global impact. It wasn't really possible. So the platforms and the pathways which he talks about are so important, because I'm pretty sure there's hundreds of people who are better than me at technology or solving problems. I think he's going to pick them up before anyone. And so during homeschooling, a problem which took place was I spent a lot of time doing technology and my academics were suffering. So although I quit formal schooling, I'd never really quit education, because no one should do that. You should keep learning. And one of the problems with that is that the more complex your problems get, the more knowledge you need to be able to address them simply. So I didn't have the math knowledge, because those kind of algorithms required crazy amount of math. And to be able to fit in and do all those things, I realized that I needed a lot more academic knowledge. So unfortunately, I rejoined the system. I do IB now, I'm in grade 12 at Jamnabai. And it's completely a suicidal mission trying to do IB along with your own extracurricular activities. So of course they suffer. I have 2 startups which I spoke about them in 2013. Only one of them is ready so far. The other one, I'm clueless what's happening. So it's this whole concept of not letting systems kill your ideas or your thoughts. So they're meant to be there, let them be there, do what you want there, but still think what's really your calling and follow it. I think that's what matters with this stuff. Thank you.
We'd really like to thank Angad, Rajshri and Sumaya to come and talk N minute, because they were informed very, very last minute to come and talk.
We would like to give the mic to Shivani Khetan now, the founder of ExpressO Talks.
Hi everyone, I hope everybody's had a good time. Yeah, I hope the stories have inspired you all. So I would actually like to thank Angad. Like as Divija mentioned, there's Rajshri, there's Angad, and there is Somya. So Kanika fell sick. Poor thing, she fainted. She was keeping unwell since the last 2 days. She was running 103 temperature. She was flying down specially from Delhi for this talk, but unfortunately the doctors asked her not to come. I got a call last night at 2 o'clock in the morning from Sheetal saying that Saira has fallen sick and she needs to be hospitalized. So all I could do was just think of these guys, call them up. Rajshri's been like a sweetheart. I called her this morning at 8 o'clock and I said, you have to come and talk. So thank you so much. You all have been wonderful. And please keep spreading this message. You know, we all think that we are judged by people. We all have this whole thing that I cannot talk because somebody is looking at me, somebody is judging me. Forget those people, let them judge. Yeah, you got to be yourself. That's what ExpressO is all about. So ExpressO, you come, you share your story, right? We have a monthly meets which is on every Friday. Please join our group on Facebook. It's called ExpressO Talks, and you will keep getting updates of the monthly meets. We have a talk coming in Delhi on the 10th of Bangalore. So if you have people in Bangalore, please inform them. We are also doing Bangalore. Yeah? Can I call all the speakers, please? We want a group picture. Yeah? I would like to thank Divija and Aryaman. They have been like sweethearts again. They've been hosting my event. So thank you so much. Aryaman, thank you. Please come. Dipesh, Sapna, Yash. Yashraj has been threatening me, so I had to land up at his office yesterday. 11 to 3, I was sitting in his office. And now also he was like, Shivani, I need to leave. But he's really been a sweetheart and he's been really nice. Yeah? So all the speakers, please come here for a picture.
Yes, seriously. Right. Yes. Good idea.
Okay, we have a Q&A session. If anybody wants to ask any questions to my speakers, you all are most welcome. They're all here to answer your questions. Yeah? Anybody has any questions for any of the speakers? No questions? Really? Come on, Sapna. It's a Sunday, everybody wants to enjoy. Okay, fine. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for being a wonderful audience. We will come back for the Mumbai edition somewhere around Feb end. Yeah? Thank you. Wait, Divija, please come and honor the... Come. So we give you a cup where you're going to have your coffee every morning with the ExpressO. And you remember us. Wait. Divija and Aryaman, please come.
Please honor us.
Please honor the...
Don't make us wait.
Yeah, please take the photographs. Listen, give way for the photographs.
Be like Modi, look at the light. Look at the camera, everybody.
Kindly leave your feedback forms near the DJ console, please. You all have got feedback forms. Please fill them up and leave them near the DJ console. Thank you.
I represent my band which supports cycling as a cause and cycling as a mean to raise funds. So one of our representatives is going to cycle from all the way from Bombay to Delhi, 1500 kilometers. And we're trying to raise money for a girl child. We support an NGO called impact. Why I'm here, I'm just trying to request all of you, if you could just go on to www.keto.org/Umeed_1000, or you can reach me on 9833020651, and please support the cause. We need the money to educate girl child. We are trying to support from the bank 300 of them, but it's cost quite some money. We're trying to support 90,000 girl child. So it's a lot, So guys, I need your help. Just go online to impact, and I'll share all the details to Shivani. So if you all can just contribute, it would be really good. Thank you so much.
Last not the least, I would like to thank Harry's. Amit, thank you so much. Jay, thank you so much. So we have a venue partner in Bangalore. It's Harry's again. So thank you so much. Looking forward to Delhi.